Good morning all. Gee, it's been a while since I've heard Nutbush City Limits get played. Thank you, Lisa, for the introduction. In this session today, Tara and I will use an emergency scenario, or a fire drill as Lisa alluded to demonstrate how Esri Mobility Solutions supports all stages of the field operations workflow, namely to improve utilisation of field resources, optimise field navigation, hasten data capture, and improve sharing of information from the field back to the incident management team to build situational awareness. As you can see on screen, there's a bit of an emergency incident. The primary objective of the emergency incident is the protection of life and property. A command and control structure is set up to manage people, facilities, equipment, and communications to achieve a common objective. An incident management team, or an IMT, is set up to implement this command and control structure. An IMT requires up-to-date, accurate information to allow it to implement and control an incident. Field intelligence is key to building this information flow to the IMT to build situational awareness. So to allow them to make informed decisions to protect life and property for incidents such as fire, flood, earthquake, tsunami, and counter-terrorism, to name a few. To quote a former colleague, David Rort from Department of Biodiversity, Conservation and Attractions, it's information that puts out a fire. So today's scenario, we have a fire approaching Perth. We have key cultural assets that need to be assessed for defendability, and we need to prioritise firefighting efforts. We have field staff that need to be coordinated to conduct a structural triage assessment, and from that information, flow that back to an incident management team to gain situational awareness, to allow the IMT to prioritise protection efforts against the fire. So the aim of today is really to deliver structural triage. We've been provided a standard operating procedure from Department of Fire and Emergency Services that you can see on screen. And as you'll note, it's very much a paper-based process. Technology today is rapidly evolving. Mobile devices are becoming cheaper, smaller, and more versatile, combining all manner of sensors such as GPS, cameras, and digital compasses, to name a few. These devices have vast storage volume to store offline maps, data, and all manner of apps to do lots of activities. The beauty of this is most of us in this room and most people on the fire ground or an emergency incident have smart devices in their pockets. This provides a rich set of sensor information that's available right across the incident area. This provides a huge opportunity to streamline field operations for task allocation, navigation, field intelligence capture, and sharing of information back to the incident management team to build situational awareness. So the outcome of today is really to demonstrate how integrated Esri Mobility Solutions support this flow of information and field operations. So field operations is comprised of 5 stages: plan, coordinate, navigate, capture, and monitor. All stages of these workflow need to work together to allow the IMT to command and control an incident. In the case of the demonstration today, the planning stage is done. We've used ArcGIS Desktop to capture assets, and we have their known locations. We'll be kicking off this demonstration at the coordination stage, where I'll be using an application known as Workforce for ArcGIS to coordinate tasks to field staff. Tar will then jump into the navigation stage, where she'll be demonstrating effective turn-by-turn navigation and as the crow flies direction using a variety of applications such as Navigator, Trek to There, and AUGeo. Tar will then move on to the capture stage, where she'll demonstrate the ease and speed of using and capturing field intelligence with applications such as Survey 123 and Collector for ArcGIS. The version that Tar's going to be demonstrating today is the new Aurora Beta. Lastly, I'll finish off at the monitor stage. I'll be using an application known as Operations Dashboard to bring in this information from the field develop situational awareness, and use that to prioritise firefighting efforts. So, just give us a short tick. We're going to change into our superhero outfits for the demonstration. So the demonstration today is going to be conducted over 2 locations. I'm going to be an operations officer in the incident management team, and Tar is going to be in the field as a field crew or field officer. As an operation officer in the IMT, my main priority is going to be to develop situational awareness. I need to consume information from the field to allow me to prioritise activities and implement the command and control structure. I'll be coordinating field activities and tasking of jobs to field crews like Tar. Tar, on the other hand, is going to be in the field. She's going to be carrying out on-ground activities and reporting back field intelligence back to the IMT so I can make and carry out decisions.
Now, as Craig has outlined in the scenario aim, we'll be using a range of Esri's integrated mobility applications to show full support for every aspect of field operations so we can deliver structural triage assessments.
All right, let's jump into the demonstration.
Let's do it.
So on screen, as I sort of alluded to in the introduction, we're going to be using Workforce for ArcGIS to coordinate staff tasking. On screen, we've got 2 components. We have a map on the left, and we have a range of activities on the right-hand side. On the map, we have stars, which designate the assets that need to have structural triage conducted on them. You can also see that there's some green circles, which denote activities which have already been completed by field crews. And on the left-hand side is a list of all the activities that have been assigned to field staff and completed. All right, so let's jump into this. So what I'd like to do first is I've got some assets that haven't had structural triage implemented on them. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one of those and assign it to Tar to conduct a structural triage. So for this particular instance, I'm going to click on the asset and I'm going to create a new assignment for Tar to undertake. When I click on that asset and create an assignment, the first thing I need to do is to define what type of activity it is. In this particular situation, I've got 2 types of activities I can choose from: a capture or an inspection. The inspection is a structural triage, so I'm going to choose that as my first instance. The location of the assignment has already been nominated when I clicked on the asset, and I'm going to assign this particular job to Tar. I can give it a priority. In this case, I'm going to mark it as critical, and a due date and time that it needs to be completed by. So let's give it, let's say we'll give Tar an hour or so to do the job. I can assign an ID which might relate back to another business system, and I can give a description of the particular job. So I'm going to call this one triage. I can also attach a standard operating procedure or a photo to this particular activity that I'm going to assign Tar. Now that I'm happy with all that information, I'm going to click the Create Assignment button. What this does is it takes that information from my application on screen and presents that to Tar in the field using mobile communications. So now Tar's got that in her to-do list. Now that was just creating one job at a time. I can do the same sort of process again, but I can do it in a bulk fashion. So to do that, I can click on this particular icon and highlight a number of different assets that I'd like to conduct a structural triage in a bulk way, and I can potentially assign those to a staff member in the field in a bulk manner. Now we've just received some communication from the field. Over the radio, some of the field crews have identified that there's a new asset that's been detected which we hadn't already captured. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a new assignment for Tar to go out and capture this new asset. So what I'd like to do now is I'm going to create a new assignment. The type of job that we're going to choose this time is a capture, so we're going to capture the location of a new asset. The location of this particular asset I can click on the map for, so from the radio communications I know it's in sort of that rough area. I'm going to assign it to Tar again. This time I'm going to give it a high priority and a new date time. So it's the same method pretty much that I used before. And the description this time I'm going to say it's a capture job. Now that I'm happy with that, I'm going to create that assignment. So just in summary, I've created 2 activities for Tar in the field. One is to conduct a structural triage on a known asset, And the second one is to capture a brand new asset that we didn't previously have visibility of. So now I'm going to hand over to Tar to show us her field operations to deliver those two activities.
Thank you very much to our operations officer. And as I mentioned beforehand, I'll use a range of integrated Esri mobility apps to go through the entire process and to show support for every aspect of operations. So we'll start off with Workforce for ArcGIS. Now this is the mobile version of the field operations and coordination application that we just saw back in IMT. As a field officer, it enables me to receive my assignments and tasks while I'm out in the field and start to work on them. So I've received two, as our IMT officer indicated, an asset inspection and an asset capture. And since my inspection is critical, I'll start with that. Now the mobile application enables me, again, to access a map, and I can see all existing assets that are in the field. Highlighted on the map, I can also see the current assignment that I'll be completing. Because I'm working in an online environment, when I choose to start that assignment, back in IMT, they can follow the status and progress of this assignment. As you can see, it's now in progress. I can see all the notes that I've received from IMT, and I've been instructed to triage, so I'll complete a structural triage assessment. Now, Workforce for ArcGIS seamlessly integrates with a number of mobility solutions, and the first thing that I want to do is navigate to that assignment. By integrating Navigator for ArcGIS, as a field officer, I can quickly and easily access online and offline routing capability. Now, with Navigator for ArcGIS, you get hundreds of global maps. But the real benefit is when you integrate your organization's custom maps or custom routes, so your field officers can quickly and easily route to the location of assets and not just a street address. It looks like Perth traffic is being pretty good to us today.
If only it was like that every day.
Now, once I've completed my navigation, I'm prompted to return to Workforce for ArcGIS. Now, while I can use Navigator to quickly and easily navigate by road or by vehicle, I also want to ensure that I have safe passage from my current location, from the car, to the actual asset. So we've integrated Trek to There. So think of Trek to There as a smart compass, showing us the distance and the direction to our existing asset. And with integrated augmented reality, I can see not just the compass, but my surroundings as well. So I can quickly and easily navigate from my current location or my vehicle to the assignment. That's pretty dope, right?
Awesome. This is really good technology if you guys are needing to navigate off-road. So if you need to walk through the bush and you're not using a road network, Trek to There provides a great sort of as the crow flies direction aid.
Now, as a field officer, I can also integrate AUGeo. Now, this is a free and simple application that's been specifically designed to integrate your GIS data in an augmented reality environment. Now, the best thing about using AUGeo is that as I change direction, I can see the location of all of my assignments. It shows me the distance as well as the direction to walk to those assignments. And with an inbuilt map as well, I get a bird's eye view of the direction of all my assignments.
TAR's location is simulated in Elizabeth Quay in Perth, as opposed to here in Brisbane.
Okay. Now that I've trekked and I have used AUGeo to get from my current location and navigate safely to my assignment, I can then complete my triage. Now, our structural triage assessment is based on the SOP that we saw back in IMT. So I'm using Survey 123 to complete a specific form. Now, the benefit of using Survey 123 is that I get to do away with paper-based forms. I am not fudge.
Doing well with the nails, Tar. You don't see too many field crew with nails like that in the bush.
Some would say I'm nailing it. Okay. Now, the benefit of using Survey 123 is, apart from smart comments, we have access to smart forms. Now, this means I can quickly and easily select from pick lists as well as cascading drop-down lists. Now, all fields have been made mandatory, so as a field officer, I know that all the data that I'm capturing is absolutely essential and necessary for our triage.
So the Survey 123 app you see on screen is based on the standard operating procedure based on Department of Fire and Emergency Services.
Survey 123 also enables you to capture a photo. Shout out to the home state. Hey, Brisbane. And because it is enabled for both online and offline access, I can either choose to send my completed survey now, or I can choose to send it later. So this is great for field officers who are working in a disconnected or offline environment. That means I can save all of my surveys and then push them up to my organization's portal once I'm in a connected environment. But I'll choose to send this now, and we'll be able to see the results back at IMT. Now that I've completed my asset inspection, I can finish my assignment. If I have any notes to add, I can let my IMT know that it's been completed or if there are any additional issues that we need to look at. So this means I can move on to my asset capture. Now, as we can see, I'm only about 100 meters away from the location of the asset capture. So I can quickly and easily, again, use Trek to there to navigate safe passage from my current location to the location of the new asset. Now, for an asset capture, we've integrated Collector for ArcGIS, so I can collect or capture information out in the field. But we'll be looking at using Collector Aurora Beta. Now, as you can see in my ArcGIS apps tray, I have two collector applications. In the top center, I have my traditional collector for ArcGIS. And in the top right, I have the Collector Aurora Beta version. This means I can install both products side by side, so I can quickly and easily access brand new functionality and features and test drive my organization's workflows in the new app. Now, for any avid Collector for ArcGIS users, you'll immediately notice that we have a lot more screen real estate in the application. There's a new way to capture information in the bottom right-hand corner, and all of my in-map navigation tools are safely tucked away in my options tray. So I can quickly and easily toggle my layers on and off, and I also have a corresponding legend tab that enables me to see what layers are on and off. Is there more?
There is more. One of the great new features of the new Aurora product is the ability to use vector tile caches. From my perspective, it's an awesome new technology that allows vector data to be taken offline in the field to provide that base map functionality in a lot smaller sort of data storage.
For this demo, I'm going to change over to the Collector World Topo Map, so I get the same view as we have back in IMT. Because I've turned my assignments on, I see the location of that brand new assignment where I'm capturing new information. By dropping a pin, I can choose to collect new information, and I'll collect a brand new asset. Now, my understanding is that this is a pub.
Yes, I can verify it's a pub.
So this is high value and high impact category in case a fire did come through this area.
Definitely high impact.
I'll submit my new asset, and that's been added to my map in real time. We've also included an in-app link to Survey 123. So as a field officer, as soon as I've finished capturing a new asset, I can complete my structural triage assessment. Now, I'm one of many field officers who are out in the field completing operations. So what we might do is hand over to our operations officer to see how all of our operations are going.
Thank you, Tara. So the next stage of the demonstration is going to be back in the IMT and looking at how me as an operations officer can start digesting that field intelligence provided by Tara and others to start allowing me to build situational awareness, to start looking at priorities for bushfire fighting and protection efforts. So I'm going to jump to Operations Dashboard. So Operations Dashboard, Brian showed some really good examples of Operations Dashboard used at Red Cross. It's really designed to bring in lots of different information feeds, provide a map to summarise that geographically, but also to summarise key information with these infographics on the right-hand side of the screen, or on the left of the big screen. So this allows me as an operations officer to really get to the nuts and bolts of the information that's critical for me to make decisions. So as you can see on the screen, we have a map as a main part of the application. The map is consistent with what I used in Workforce for ArcGIS to allocate tasks to individuals. It's the same consistent map that TAR's using out in the field. The same symbology, the same look and feel. Now, in terms of activities, I'm going to click on the activity that TAR's just delivered, and we'll go through that. So I can see, in this particular case, it's a fountain or a child's water playground. I can see a breakdown of the activity, when it was allocated to TAR, when she completed it, so I have a full audit history of that particular job. And I'll click on another resource. We can find out the actual structural triage information. So a full breakdown of what's been supplied from Survey 123, and then a photo of a particular field, what's happening in the field basically. As Brian demonstrated, the map and the infographics on the side are linked. So as I move the map around, those infographics are dynamically changing. So in this particular case, I've now got 0 completed inspections. If I move the map back to Elizabeth Quay, those statistics change as I move the map around because they're locked to the extent. So those infographics, the green box up the top denotes how many inspections or how many structural triage activities are being completed to date. I can see how many incidents are in progress by the orange box. And below that, I can see how many critical jobs or how many critical structural triages are still outstanding. I have a breakdown below that of how many field officers are actually active in the field and how many are inactive. They might be off shift or potentially asleep under a tree. And I have a breakdown of the structural triage results. How many of those assets are defendable with firefighter assistance? How many are defendable without firefighter assistance? And how many are potentially going to burn because they're not defendable at all based on the field intelligence coming through? I also have a breakdown of the asset impact. So how many of those assets are high impact, how many are medium, and how many are low impact? I also have a breakdown of information from external to the incident, date time feeds, and below that I have a 7-day forecast from the Bureau of Meteorology. So all this information is allowing me as an operation officer to get better situational awareness so I can understand what's happening in the field so then I can get situational awareness to help me do my job. So we'll now jump back to the presentation and we'll go through some of the business benefits of this integrated solution. So as an operations officer, having transparency of activities that I've allocated to the field and having a bit of a status update of when they're completed and when they're in progress really helps me get better utilisation of those field staff.
As a field officer, with improved and optimized navigation, it reduces transit time as well as fuel costs, and it means I have increased efficiency for me to complete my tasks.
As an operations officer, having visibility of who's where in the field allows me to manage risk. Occupational health and safety, so I can keep field crew out of harm's way. It also allows me to appropriately task field crew because I know where the activities are and I know where my field staff are, so I can choose to assign tasks to the closest individual.
Now, I'm a field officer who identifies as a millennial, so my mobile device lives in my hand. This means that the advent of technology increases field data capture, so we're reducing double handling of written forms as well as information that's input back in the office. And altogether, we're reducing human error.
Key for me to be able to do my job is having information provided to me from the field. When TAR and others in the field can capture information, field intelligence, electronically, it allows them to share it pretty much in real time so I can get situation awareness as I need at the important times.
For all of us as an organization, an integrated mobility solutions provides a single solution that's intuitive and easy to learn. And it means that we have increased uptake of this technology in our organization. Now, as you saw today, we have a range of Esri's mobility solutions that you can quickly and easily integrate into your organization's workflows. And most of these are free with named user access. There's heaps of tools that we didn't get to try out today, but you can certainly quickly and easily integrate these into your organization's workflows. Hopefully, we've given you some really good insight into the various tools and how we can create a seamless experience for capturing data as well as reporting back to IMT.
We'd like to thank various agencies that have contributed to make this presentation what it is. We've received photos, forms, and props such as these from various agencies. I'd like to thank Department of Biodiversity, Conservation and Attractions in WA, Fire and Emergency Services in Western Australia, Emergency Services Agency in ACT, and the Country Fire Authority in Victoria. Thank you, guys.
It's really important to note that when tackling any kind of emergency event, it's not just me, but it's us as a team. And it's the same thing with any of these Esri mobile apps. While they're great individually, they're definitely better together. Thank you.
I'd like to finish. If you guys have got any questions, please come and find Tara and I throughout the day in the Tech Hub, and feel free to ask questions as you need.
We'll have our props with us.